goes through.
It says I'm on Facebook Live now.
It does? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. Actually, what happened was, I wanted to, the rest of the team had no more sense than I did, to push it, but we didn't. And so what actually happened was in that time, the technology's caught up, and for a lot less money, we can do what I dream of doing, which is having the multiple streams, multiple channels, and all that. So I think it's going to be different pieces put together, instead of a one-stop shop, because nobody really has the one-stop shop. So it's these probably 3 to 4 different major pieces, and but I think it's without the pressure of the linear timeline and with everything that's happened. I was thinking, hey, let's do this on the 19th after this after this thing's over. But yeah, it's like we're all kind of went out and came back, and
Yep.
And we're coming back.
It's pretty fascinating, actually.
Yeah,
so you remember Activation Station was going to launch in like September of last year?
Yeah.
And then it didn't launch, and then it didn't launch, and then it didn't launch, and then finally November 11th it launched. That's the world of technology. You have this great idea. You're like, this is going to be so wonderful. I'm going to put this together. And then, God just laughs and your plans fall apart. And then when it does come together, it's better than you could have dreamed. Yeah. It's that letting go of control. It's the same thing with building the Center for Expansion here in Dallas. Like, we have the money. We've been wanting to build it. Every time we get the land, it falls through. So it's just like, when it's time,
Yeah, and I've accepted it. I've learned to accept it. And actually,
that's all you can do.
It's crazy. Every time you release something, it comes to you. But you can't fake releasing or
no, you can't fake releasing. Not at all. It's fun. You don't even know you're holding on to something until you let it go. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, I had a profound experience. I just had so many of them I can't even remember, but I think it was about a week ago. It was and it was this the night before. It was this final surrendering, letting go. I'm vomiting, I'm crying.
Yep.
And I get it, and then I let it go, and then I come in like 2. It's like must be like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and I get in bed, and then there's this Morgan and I, this divine. I hadn't talked to you. We had physical herioscamos about a week before that, which was mind blowing. A few more episodes, but I let go, it comes. I let go, it comes.
Yep.
And then the next morning I was doing the whole laughing and crying thing for about 20 minutes. And the elation was hitting me. Hello, everybody. SouLSPEAKS 5D, Soulogy.One. We got our dear brother Jason Estes back with us. We're just having a little chit chat. I'm just going to share it to the network and give people about 2 more minutes, and we're going to jump right into it because I know Jason might be on a tight timeline, and we're here to.
Okay. I mean, because we moved it up a little bit. I have another session right after this, so.
Yeah, no problem, and we'll come together again and again.
It'll be perfect.
It is though. It's so. I just shared it to the network. 87 people in the house. Welcome everybody. Thank you for your continued love and support and contributions. Allow us to keep doing this every day by the seat of our pants. And if these shows resonate with you, please share. Yeah, but it is. It's okay. So you said like, what's going on with the site? And I'm just using that as an example. What to your point? And it's like I can see the alignment as opposed to forcing anything. I actually see the players all walking to the center into this align and this column of alignment, and I'm sitting here watching it and going, okay. I just told Morgan right before the show, I said, we ain't got nothing to worry about.
Nope.
Nothing at all.
But see, getting to that place is the challenge, because working from 3D to 4D is all about effort, and you're just pushing and like you're digging and you're doing all this work, right? And then you get to 4D and then it's like, now stop thinking about everything that you did before and just live. And you're like, how do I do that? And then the universe is like, all we want you to do is just want things and we'll give them to you. And you're like, but like, what do I have to do for them? And the universe is like, just want things. And you're like, how do I just want things? What is want? What is all these things? And that's because like the fifth dimension is just like floating up. You just float up naturally through it. But as you float up, everything that's holding you down as you get to those new layers starts pulling on you like weights.
Yeah.
And so you start throwing up, you start shaking, you start convulsing, you start feeling all this fear, all this like lack of worth, all this guilt, the shame, all of it. Because as you elevate up, you're not allowed to have it anymore. And as you elevate up, you're not allowed to have it anymore. And the universe is like, if you just let go and make room, we'll give you better things.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we're human beings right now, and it's really hard for a human being to accept that.
Yeah.
Wait, you mean I don't have to do lots of things anymore? I don't have to like struggle? I don't know about this. This seems wrong. It's evil. I'm supposed to struggle. I've got to struggle. Like, that's my identity. I am struggle. And it's like, God's like, no, you're not. You're not any of those things you think you are. Just let go of everything you think you are, and you'll be better for it. And we're like, I can't do that. And so we have this rough ride that's happening. And the purge was really good because it helped us realize what we were capable of. I was just talking to somebody and I said, the purge reminded me of the Marine Corps. I wrote a poem in the Marine Corps called like The Hellish Life. And what it was basically explaining like how even though the Marines was like the hellish thing, like all this training and this torture basically to become who I was, that things that I once thought were impossible, I was able to do it at a first glance by the seat of my pants. Like it became so easy to do the impossible that it was like a natural thing to beat the impossible every day. Yeah. And that's what the purge taught us. It showed us who we could be, but now that it's over, it's not asking us to be that at that intensity right now. But you see all of us, but the thing that's really cool about the human condition is when it knows that something is possible, it strives for it. So we now know what is possible for us. We also know that we are not where we want to be. And so it leaves us in this feeling of depression or sadness because we didn't amount to what we thought we could amount to, and we were just proven that we didn't amount to it. Yeah. But the thing is, this is for anyone watching, you couldn't amount to what you were being shown. It wasn't designed for that. So letting go of this belief that you have failed is the first step to feeling better. The purge taught you things. It showed you things. It was an impossible state of awareness to hold permanently at that time. Yeah. So the people that are like, well, I failed the purge, I feel horrible about it, I should beat myself up. No, stop, forgive. Forgive yourself for falling short of perfection. Because guess what? You're going to have to do that for the rest of your life. Forgive yourself for falling short of perfection. Because you are a human being learning to be perfect. Yeah. And that learning to be perfect is always going to be a few feet further. Yeah. So don't make it about the future version of you. Make it about the present version of you and the journey to it. Because I can tell you right now, this is the infinite game. There is no end to perfection. And the moment that you reach the state of perfection you thought you could reach 10 years ago, guess what? A new state of perfection is now in front of you. This fifth dimensional template that you now have access to is so grand and so great. It is literally impossible for you right now to reach it. And it will always be impossible for you to reach it because it's like the stick and the carrot. As soon as you get close to it, it moves further. But that is us in progress because we're moving closer to it. Stop using the end game as what you have to get to celebrate. Stop using the end game as what you have to do to feel good about yourself. And start using the step by step as that moment of celebration. Take a step forward and celebrate. Take another step forward and celebrate. Take another step forward and celebrate. And before long, you can look back and celebrate how far you've come, but never look forward to the future highest perfect version of you and diminish yourself, because that's you stepping backwards. And that's what I'm seeing a lot of. So many people are like, I'm not as good as I was during the purge. The purge was holding areas of consciousness open for you. It was like
why are they saying that? Why are they saying that? I don't understand.
Because in the purge, they realized how powerful they were. They realized how strong they were. The very last part of the purge held the mental plane open for everyone. Mastering the mind, truly mastering it, is one of the hardest things that anyone will ever do. And for a good few weeks, it was held open for you, as if you were a master.
Yeah.
And you were able to clear things like that. And now all of a sudden you feel like you went backwards because you're out of this purge and your mind is closed down because you're not balancing the planes necessary to stay stable in the mind to continue to master the mind. But I'll tell you what, no one who was in the purge, who came out of the purge, is the same value they were in the purge. We are all in a process of coming down to our natural state of being, which, by the way, if you look backwards before the purge to today, you are a more amazing person than you were ever before that.
Yeah.
So stop looking forward and saying, I am not this, and start looking back and say, I am not that. Because you've grown. You've grown into something great, but you're not celebrating that greatness. You're diminishing it by looking at the future and wishing that you were the future version of you.
Yeah.
That is not what this is for. We're here on a journey. We're not at a destination. That would be boring.
Yeah.
To live at one point for the rest of your life? Why?
Yeah. What's the point? There's no point.
Exactly.
We're
And
building.
that's why this journey is so amazing.
Yeah. We're building and creating now.
Exactly. And that's where we're at. The next step for us is simply to become responsible creators. And do you know how you become a responsible creator? By failing a lot.
Yeah.
Because in your failures, you learn something very valuable that allows you to succeed eventually.
Yeah. It's like setting deadlines when you're going to launch your website.
Yes, exactly.
Over and over until you just zip your mouth. And that's it.
Eventually, you just let go and you go, I don't have power over this. I don't have control over this. All I can do is the best that I can do, and that's got to be enough. And if it's not enough, then there's something in me somewhere that's trying to do something for someone else or to someone else's expectations.
Yeah.
So as long as we can acknowledge that and work through that, everything changes. It's like, I want to do this because, okay, is it I just want to do this, or is it I want to do this because? Because if there's a because there, be prepared. This world that we are moving into, and for those of you who landed already in the first 300, I'll speak to you for a second. If you are feeling sick at your stomach and you're feeling nauseous and you feel like you just wish that you could just lay down for the rest of eternity, congratulations. The process you're in is your body is making room to speed up fast enough to keep up with the ascension line. No one landed on the ascension line with grace, ease, and efficiency. It was ridiculous. It was like a train wreck landing on that line because it was moving so much faster than what we anticipated. So when we did land on that line, it was like, oh, I need to throw up a lot now. I've got to like go and cry. I've got to get all this out because there was so much that even though we let go at the highest level we could in the purge, that was ready to let go of even more when we stepped off that plane. The first foot that touched that ground, man, that was hilarious to watch what happened. But that's the beauty of being a pioneer. And every one of those 300 that were the pioneers know exactly what they got themselves into. They knew that when they stepped off, they would be stepping onto an unfamiliar territory, and they would begin to make it familiar. They would take something that would be impossible and make it possible for all. And they knew that. They signed up for that. That's why there were so little people on that plane, because knowing that you were going to step into something that is literally impossible, but that you have 299 of your closest friends ready to help you figure out how to make it possible once you get off the toilet. You know, that's that process. And that's for those 300. For those of you that aren't in the 300, you saw the best and brightest people fail miserably. And that helped you to lose hope for a second. So take a second and realize that that process of what those 300 are going through is making it possible for what you will go through to be easier. And that they were never designed to succeed the moment they landed. That's not going to happen. When you're pioneering something, it is very rare that you will succeed on your first time. So don't take it and look at them and think any less of them. Don't take it and look at them and think any less of you. Just acknowledge that this is the journey that we're on, that where we are now is perfect, that there is nothing that we can do to make it more perfect other than be the best that we can be. Don't create struggles where there aren't any. And if you create an ally in the future that you think you should be today, you are creating a struggle where there isn't a need for one. If you ever are going to compare yourself to anyone or anything, always compare yourself to the past version of you.
Yeah.
And I don't even recommend that. But if you have to compare yourself to something, look at the old version of you and compare yourself to it.
Yeah. 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 Comparing yourself to your former you, you're not present. I mean,
Exactly.
That's not even going to work anymore.
But it's better than comparing yourself to something that's impossible that's in front of you or someone else, because their journey isn't your journey. So if you're going to do it, always compare it to the older version of you, because you can at least find something to celebrate and grow into through seeing the past you. But it's not a 5D value, because the past and the present are all here, you know? And so it hurts to look forward or backwards. It's better to just put one foot in front of the other as best you can and enjoy the ride, because that's where we're at. Like, this is the enjoy the ride step. You're alive right now, you're good. That's the key, right? If you're alive right now, you're good. You made it through the purge. Celebrate that. If you are alive and you are good, the next step is doing good. How can I do good in this world? What is doing good in this world? And those are questions you ask yourself. And then you apply. Well, if doing good in this world looks like this for me, then I want to do that. Find a way to support, find a way to help, whatever it is that you feel called to do. The next step after that is have faith. Faith is a fifth dimensional currency. Having faith is one of the hardest things we'll do, but it happens naturally. Like I said, the fifth dimension is a natural evolution. It doesn't require effort. Having faith does not take effort to come to. It requires you be a good person and you do good. That's it. Faith comes naturally when you do those things.
Yeah.
Can I use you as an example?
Yep.
You're a good person. You're doing good in the world. And now you're starting to have faith with your platform that you're building. And so all of a sudden things are starting to come together for you because you've moved into that faithful level of surrender. You realize that the grand scheme, the grand plan is greater than your human mind will ever understand. And that there are reasons for everything that are out of your control.
Yeah.
That's where faith comes in. And we'll talk a little bit about this because I did it on another video, but for your audience, I'll talk about it as well. The Light of Hope, which started on the 18th and ended at 5 a.m. this morning, so almost exactly 12 hours ago. That gift was like airplane lights that showed you where you were and where the door of hope was, right? And so this journey from where you are to where hope was is you reclaiming your innocence, because you cannot open the door of hope and step into true faith without innocence. So the journey you're on now is, you know where you need to go, you know where you are. The first step is forgiveness. I'm here, and it's okay that I'm here, and I forgive the parts of me that don't think it's okay. The second step is, every step that I take, I'm coming into more and more innocence. I'm realizing that only through innocence can I reach the childlike state that is worthy of entering into the fifth dimension. Because with hope and innocence together, the door to the fifth dimension unlocks. So the gift that we just got, this light of hope, is renewing us by showing us the way home. But at first, it's very traumatic for many people, because if you're here and the door is here and you thought you were here, guess what happens? Judgment. You begin to judge and belittle yourself because you're here. Well, guess what that does? Oh, well, now I'm over here, or I'm even further off the screen. Because every time that you do that, every time that you belittle yourself or diminish yourself, you step backwards.
Yeah.
So there is literally no reason to ever belittle or diminish yourself. Ever. Always forgive yourself. You're not always going to succeed. If you are one of those people that always succeed, there's something that is just not true about your life. And I don't know what it is, but no one ever succeeds 100% of the time, always. Maybe in the past, you failed miserably and you learned everything you needed. And now it looks like you're always a success. A lot of my students run into this challenge. They look at me and they go, "You're such a huge success. How am I ever going to amount to you?" And you know what I tell them? You never will. Because I'm me and you're you. But it has no, like, you will amount to something greater than anything that I can even imagine as long as you walk your path.
Yeah.
But if you compare yourself to me, instead of walking towards the door that is you, you walk towards me as a door. I am not your door. No one who you idolize or worship is your door. The only door that you have is within you, and it's in your heart. And the only way you can open that door is through innocence. The door of hope unlocks with the innocence of a child. You can become childlike again without being childish. And that's the other distinction that I want to make today. So many people become childish thinking that that's childlike. Childlike and childish are not the same thing at all. The difference is childish is an immature state of awareness.
Yeah.
That's all it is, an immature state of awareness, which means that it can become matured. Nothing wrong with that. Childlike is a mature state of awareness that is still able to have the vulnerability and the openness and the innocence of a child. You see, we are born into codependency and we grow into sovereignty. Now, that could be thousands of lifetimes, or it could be a single lifetime. Each person makes that decision and that choice, but that is the natural progression from childish to childlike. You know, it goes the wounded child, the inner child, the divine child, the golden child. So these steps of awareness that we go through are all inside of us. It's the child. And it's acknowledging that child within us, that child that wants to throw a temper tantrum, that wants to be upset, that wants to be validated, that needs to be validated, acknowledging that and saying, hey, I understand where you come from because I was you and I grew up, I matured. How would you like to mature? As we relate to those children within us and we evolve them into something greater, the world becomes easier.
Yeah. How do we regain our innocence?
That is probably the biggest journey that one will take, because that's the journey from wherever you are right now to wherever you're going. And the answer is step by step. If you catch yourself going into a temper tantrum, find out why. Because I guarantee you it's not whatever it is that just triggered you, unless you're a 5-year-old. If you're a 5-year-old, it's still probably not what triggered you. As we begin to discover what really is and not what we think it is, everything changes. One other thing that is important to understand around this process is ethics. This has become a major issue in this world because there's this thing called authentic ethics and there's this thing called imposed ethics. So if I believe that you, Todd, have better ethics than me, and I take on your ethics as my own, am I being authentic?
No.
No. If my mom tells me what's right and wrong, and I take that on, and I don't resource it, am I being ethical?
No.
I'm being ethical. There's a form of ethics exchange, but I'm not being authentic.
Right.
See, that's the challenge. Our world tells us constantly what's right and wrong. Our world tells us constantly what we should and shouldn't do. But we never take the moment to say, okay, I can see that murder is bad according to the world, but why is it bad for me? And this is the next step. If you want to run a fifth dimensional world, live in it, and actually run in it perfectly, you have to have what is called agreements. Agreement fields are designed based on your authentic ethical experiences. So how do we work on that? What does that look like? An agreement field is like a bubble around you. I like to call it the dance card approach to life. So if I need to have the experience of being shot at, then I'll have that as an agreement field, and it will attract someone that needs to shoot at someone, right? This is how the world is designed. I have to have this experience. You need to have the opposite experience. Let's come together so that we can have this experience. This is looking at life from a fifth dimensional perspective. Well, I am now a creator in my own life, right? I now understand the fifth dimensional perspective. Maybe I don't want to get shot at anymore. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and say I definitely don't want to get shot at. Got enough of that in the Marine Corps, know exactly what it feels like, don't want to do it again. So how do I change my agreement field to not be shot at anymore without actually having to be shot at?
How do you do
Exactly.
that?
I wrote a note on this called Remembering Unity. But what it is basically is I take the parts of me that need this experience, because anything in your agreement field need it, right? Something inside of you needs this experience, guaranteed. Otherwise, it won't exist. So you have to first take the approach that whatever has happened is perfect for a part of you. It doesn't have to be perfect for you, but a part of you. So no matter what's going on, that's true. The second step is you integrate that part of you. So for instance, in this particular example, it would be, I call forward any and all parts of me that need to be shot at. With love, acceptance, and no judgment, I integrate them into the wholeness of the fulfilled I am that I am. And from the wholly fulfilled I am that I am, I choose to no longer need to be shot at. You see, that is me being an authentic creator. And what happens is I'm not judging the process of it. I'm acknowledging the perfection in it, but I'm also saying, hey, I don't need this experience. There's no part of me that needs this experience. I'm done having this experience. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that from my dance card so that people don't come up and try to give me this experience anymore.
Yeah.
You see, when I do it that way, there's no judgment, there's no anger, there's no resentment, there's no lower energies pulling or pushing at it. I'm not at war with anything. I'm simply acknowledging I no longer need it. This is a fifth dimensional approach to life, because you're taking a fourth dimensional tool and solving the problem before it becomes a third dimensional problem.
Yeah.
I don't have to empower the story of victimhood. I just take the time necessary to acknowledge my creatorship in the world. And as I do this, my world becomes more and more what I want it to be. That's the secret to life. If we just did that, we would continue to remove things. I want to tell a fun story about this. So when I first started writing this technology, I think it was like 2014, I had a cop come up behind me. It was pulling me over. And I immediately was like, I don't want to be pulled over. Called forward all the parts of me that wanted to be pulled over and all this other stuff, right? And the cop ran past me and drove off like super fast when I finished the integration. Apparently someone else was speeding faster or something of that nature. So the experience of me needing to be pulled over was no longer on my dance card, and therefore it didn't have the power to pull me over because I didn't empower the experience of being pulled over. You see, no part of me needed that experience so strongly that it was able to heal. We have that capability within us. Each person on this planet is a master. Each one of you who is alive today has a fifth dimensional version of you and is capable of this level of change. But it's about being responsible as a creator, not just being a creator. You see, being a creator, it's not necessarily that great. Being a responsible creator, you build a platform for change within you, and then you begin to be an example of that change so strongly that your field changes too. Yeah. And then everyone who interacts with you goes, ooh, I really like that idea, without even saying anything. Because they see you. Go ahead.
I was going to say the key thing jumping out at me is without judgment. Like you can say, I'm not separate from that, but I no longer want that in my field.
Exactly.
But you can say that and say, yuck, I don't want that in my field. Like, in other words, there is a judgment.
Exactly. The moment that you say yuck to any experience, you are perpetuating that experience. Yeah. Right now, there's this huge push against vaccination and 5G and all these other things happening. And that's okay. That's their game that they're playing. But the moment that you enforce that game by valuing it, the game becomes stronger. Mm-hmm. And it boils over until eventually it becomes a needed experience at a collective level.
Agreed.
You don't have to have that experience at a collective level if you don't want to. But if you judge something, if you cannot accept it as its perfection that it is, because some part of you needed that experience, otherwise it's not there, you're going to have this challenge come up into your face. And the more that you push against something, the more it pushes against you. Yeah. It takes two to be at war. Yeah. I hear all these things, like so many people message me a day now about spiritual warfare. They're talking about how this being that lives with them is a dark, evil person, and that they're like doing these things, and that's why that they feel bad in their house. I used to live with one of the darkest people I've ever met in my entire life. And I was able to live at peace with them. Now, I didn't ever want to go in their room, but I was able to be at peace with them because they taught me that their truth, their belief was what they believed so strongly that I began to accept their belief.
Yeah.
Because they weren't trying to push it on me. They were just simply saying, this is how I believe, and this is how you believe, and I'm okay with how you believe, and this is how I believe, so we're going to be okay with it. Learning to be at peace with another person's belief is one of the hardest things, because what we want to do is we want to be right.
Yeah.
Naturally, inherently, we want to be right. And when someone shows us something that we don't feel right about, we want to change that thing. But that thing that we don't feel right about is part of our process. From a fifth dimensional perspective, I can say, I don't necessarily agree with Satanists and their worship. I don't agree with it. Does that mean that I judge it? No. But I know that it is not good for me. So would I be part of a Satanistic ritual? Absolutely not. That's not something that I would ever want to be part of. So I can integrate those parts of me because I don't go, yuck. I go, okay, this is part of this game that's being played. Everyone has freedom to make their choices. This is an experience they want. I don't want that experience, but they do. It's not my job to take away that experience from them. It's my job to remove that experience as a needed game around me. And that's all I can do.
Yeah.
Once I've done that, then I'm done with it. Yeah. And I move forward. You see, because to stay with their game is to distract myself from mine.
Yeah.
I'm a creator. I have the ability to create whatever I want to create or focus on someone else's creations. That's it. Those are your only two choices as a creator. You either create what you want or you help someone else create what they want.
Yeah.
What's really cool is when you create what you want so strongly that other people creating what they want match up with what you want, and you naturally are creating together what you both want equally.
Yeah.
You see, that's what the fifth dimension looks like, is conscious, responsible creators cleaning up enough that they can see exactly what they want and move towards it so strongly that they run into others who are doing the same thing. And then all of a sudden, the beauty of the fifth dimension is created. We begin to feel, not only see, but feel that co-creation energy that forms the new world.
Yeah. And you can fine tune it too, because I love that with the 5D and the vaccination, because it's not in my universe. But at the same time, I catch myself judging those who feed it. So I'm really just doing the same thing in a little sub-genre of it, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're empowering the game by judging the game at any level of the game. It doesn't matter what level of the game you're judging. If you're judging it at the hard level of the game, you're probably going to get vaccinated, right? Because you are pushing against this part. Yeah. But if you're judging at this part, you're still judging. You're still empowering this game that isn't this game, which is yours.
Yeah.
So define your game. Take the time necessary to figure out what it is that you want in your world, and then begin to find the parts of you that don't want that and integrate them. No, everyone who is listening to this, you have the power to change your life. You do. I don't care whether you're homeless, whether you're not homeless, whether you're a billionaire or you have $1 to your name. You have the ability to change everything now. You do. Everyone in this world has now been empowered with a whole new level of responsibility. And as long as you're responsible, you will find your world will change drastically. If you're irresponsible, you will also find your world change drastically. But it will change drastically towards something you don't necessarily want, because you're empowering someone else to build your world for you. Remember, the purge taught you the 4 planes. It taught you how to handle and manage all of them so that you could clean up the field around you, which is your agreement field, and have the power necessary to rebuild the world as you want it to be. Be a conscious creator. Stop creating other people's dreams and start creating your own.
A lot of people talking about masculine and feminine again. You know, the masculine energy rising. What are your thoughts on men, women? Are they equal? Are they the same?
I think men and women are awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
to answer your question, though, the feminine rising is happening right now. Up until about somewhere around the 18th of August-ish, somewhere around there. and then at that point it plateaus and it's no longer feminine or men, right? Like masculine, feminine, it ceases to be. It simply is at that point. So we are in the process of balancing out those two, and so those gender roles are coming up much stronger now than ever before.
Yeah.
But that is just because we're in a balancing act.
Yeah.
The feminine rising back into its power so that the masculine can rise back into its power so that they can both rise together.
Yeah.
And again, to anyone watching, I'm not talking about male bodies or female bodies. I don't care. You have a body, I have a body, we have bodies, whatever. Just so happens I have a lingam. That doesn't mean that I am anything other than what I am. Because I am. I don't need to be, I am something else. There are a lot of people who like to label and define themselves as all these different things. Just be yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to fit in anywhere because you're never going to fit in everywhere. So just be yourself and let that be where you fit in. Because if you are yourself and that's it, there were no more labels. Do you know how many wars would never be fought? Look back at the world. Almost everything happened because of a disagreement in a label. Or a color of his skin, right? But none of those matter because you aren't Todd the White. I'm not Jason the White, right? I'm just Jason.
Yeah.
You're just Todd.
Yeah.
All the things that you have in your life don't define you. They are part of the journey that you're on. That's it. Everything I've ever done that's behind me is behind me for a reason. I finished it. I'm moving forward. I don't need to worry about all that. The color of my skin doesn't matter. The color of your skin doesn't matter. The color of anyone's skin doesn't matter. But we don't see it that way yet because we were taught something called imposed ethics. And a long time ago on this planet, color of skin mattered to people. Yeah. So we still have that somewhere in our mental field that I don't want to play with this certain thing. But as we clear that, and we are the generation that can do this. And when I say generation, I'm not referring to XY or like millennials or anything like that. I'm referring to the people alive right now in this generation on the planet. We are the generation that changes it. This is the year of transformation. This is the year where we prove we are worthy of the new world. And we're almost halfway through. And the hardest part is over. I wrote on my wall, but the next purge level event is 100 years from now. So, and it's not even that hard. It's purging fifth dimensional concepts. So it's really about time and like the distinction of time, which won't be that challenging in comparison to cleaning up all of the 3D, the 4D concepts that we've had to work on in our purge. Because the fifth dimensional purge is pretty simple in my opinion. I mean, you're moving into a different octave. It's not that hard. Changing a plane is a way different world. So where you are is either in a transit line or you have landed. If you have landed, congratulations. If you're in a transit line, congratulations. For those of you that are in the transit line, you lost a little bit of your hope, so to speak, because the people you empowered are not working for you anymore. They're working against you. The people that were the greatest examples, those 300 that landed, those people, they're not part of your collective anymore. They are not connected to the transit line, which means their thoughts, their clarity, their light has been removed from the game for you. So it might seem less hopeful, but this is so that you can have more room to expand into yourself. Those people, they were able to embody themselves at the level they needed to enter the new world and to begin to cultivate and make it better. This time that you have, these few months where you aren't connected to those people at that level energetically anymore, is defined so that you can find yourself without being blinded by their reflection. Don't make it into them abandoning you. Don't make it into anything other than what it is. Do not create struggle where there is none. It is a gift when the brightest lights step away for a few moments so that you can see clearly who you are and how you have been. Because being stuck in that shadow of that light constantly, it's hard to see who you are.
Yeah.
So for those of you that did not land, that's okay. And the feelings that you feel right now, that's you learning who you are without these examples. And who you are without these examples is better than who you are with these examples. Yeah. Even though they are amazing beings and they've done so much work to be a great example. They're an example of themselves that teach similar concepts to the example of you. But if you are alone to find who you are going to find a greater version of you than you could ever have done with them. And this had to happen because the mentality of human consciousness currently in the collective is still a guruship.
Yeah.
A need to empower someone over yourself to show you who you are. That doesn't work in the fifth dimension. This time that you are in right now is the most empowering time that you will ever be in. So use this time to your advantage. Allow yourself to find yourself, empower yourself. Don't blame or shame others for where you are. Find where you are and expand into something greater. One foot in front of the other. And before you know it, you'll be on the ascended line with everyone else.
Yeah.
And instead of you getting lost in the orbit of these masters and amazing beings that have landed, you will stand in who you are in your own essence and contribute as an equal. Because everyone is equal. We are all doing the perfect job that we can do. These people that have landed, they simply landed ahead of time to prepare the way. That's all. It doesn't make them greater or better. It just means that that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So for those of you that aren't in that 300, you're doing a perfect job as well. You handled the best you could, and that is why you are where you are. And soon it won't matter because there won't be a difference. On January 9th, everyone on the planet will be on the ascended line that is still alive. So you only have a few months left. Enjoy it.
That's going to be interesting, January 9th.
That is definitely going to be interesting. We don't have, we have like a few influxes between then and there, and we have one body speed up phase. So for the most part, all of the intensity is over. I will say that we are now stuck permanently at 50 data points, and we will be moving to 60 data points by August. So this is our natural home state now, is this level that you're in right now. So it's not going down ever again. Just enjoy it. It's going to slowly, steadily increase. So you get 10 points over a few months, which isn't that hard, honestly. And the influx that we're having, the one that's coming up on the 27th, it's only 3 points. So we're going to hit 53. Woohoo! It's not a big deal. Like, that's super easy. So moving forward, the energy is very stable. It's going to remain very stable. The only thing that is unstable is people. Like, that's it. So find stability within you, because the energy currents aren't going to be rocking you anymore. They're just going to be like going like this every once in a while, but not like this anymore.
Yeah.
These times are over, which is great, because getting thrown up in the air just to fall just as hard is not a fun experience for anyone.
No.
But that's over. You're gonna basically be doing like a little tiny jump. That's it, like this.
Yeah.
And then it's only for a few hours too. Like, I think the next one's like either 12 hours or 24 hours. But it's not like a long-term influx. It's very short. All the influxes from here on out, very short, very low. Basically 3 points or maybe 4 on some of them. So we're done with like these giant spikes. But just for everyone that's listening, I want you to just take a look back at time for a second here. In February, we were at 35 data points as our home state. 35, right? We're now at 50. Look at what you've accomplished, and you're still alive. That's worth celebrating. You made it through all of that and are now stable here. Even if you're feeling unstable, your body is naturally normalizing. Our bodies are the greatest tool that we have, because what they do is they take something when they're shown something and they move towards it. They are naturally always learning, just like a child. They're absorbing everything. They're learning from everything. So your body is going to normalize. You might purge a little bit. You might throw up. You might have diarrhea. You might go through those things, right? But it's okay, because your body is strong enough to handle this, which is why you're alive right now, which is why you're processing this. And the guidance that I can give anyone right now is the work that is challenging is over. So the stress, the challenge, the overwhelm that you're still carrying from the last few months, let it go. The story of who you thought you were in that purge, let it go. Because it's irrelevant. All of those things that you have gone through, all of the challenges, all the struggles, brought you to this side. That's it. You're on the side. You're here. Stop trying to be there. You have gone forward. You have grown exponentially. There's nothing left for you back here. All of this is done. So just stay forward, one foot in front of the other. Continue to expand. Do good. Change the world. You already are good. You wouldn't be alive if you weren't. So do good. Make this world a better world. This is the only one we're going to get. This is the only one we have, right? So we're here. It's the same thing with our bodies, right? This is the body you get. Take care of it. This is the earth you live on. Take care of it. Do good in the world, but don't do other people's good. That's the other thing that's important. Remember, be authentic. So what's good for you might not be good for the other person. And that's okay. Don't judge other people's value of good, because then you go to war. And anytime that you go to war, you step backwards. It's time to end the wars in our minds, the internal skirmishes with others. It's time to forgive and move forward. Every game that had happened on this planet from then till now was necessary, and it got us to where we are. Let go of the rest.
And at 50 data points being the norm, the new norm, or greater, would it be safe to say that, you know, we don't need to focus so much on these other people, or let me put it a different way, that people are able to process and elevate things, integrate, and therefore elevate themselves quicker?
Absolutely.
With more potential. So this is less reason for us to be concerned about other people aren't getting it, or they're offending me, or whatever the case is.
Exactly.
It sounds too like it's important that we hold space from that higher knowing when this chaos is going on around us, because, and I'm just asking here if this is part of what you're saying, that when we do that, we're actually contributing to the elevation of that person by holding that space, not engaging,
Exactly.
allowing them to fulfill their potential with the pace of the 50 data points plus to process, integrate, and elevate.
Yeah. The other thing is to think about like this, you know, race car drivers, they go around really fast in that track, but they have to do pit stops constantly. Why are they doing the pit stops? Because they're taking their vehicle faster than it was designed to go. Our human bodies were designed for one data point every hour. One. We are now running 50. So don't beat up your body thinking it's to blame. Your body is going as fast as it can and it needs support. Just think of it from that perspective. The faster you go, the more pit stops you need. So if you're finding yourself tired and you're just like, well, body, you can do better, you're just beating up your body for no reason. And then now it's even harder for it to not be tired, right? So acknowledge that this part that you're in, first of all, human history, we've never been this high. It's never happened. Okay, so our bodies don't even have a template of us being this high. Only in those influxes, which were temporary levels, did they learn what it looks like to be this high. So we're going to go through things. Our bodies are going to detox as we get stable with these things. And it's important that you give your body permission to process, that you don't blame or shame anything else, and that you just work with it. You say, okay, body, I know that you're going through this. You're taking 50 data points on per hour now instead of one. What can I do to help you? What can I do to support you in this process? Because right now, you saying that to your body is going to bring you closer into faith with your body than you can imagine. And you're in for the greatest ride of your life. Because when you and your body can get on the same page, everything changes. Yeah. But the way you get there is for your body to begin to trust you so that eventually it can have faith in you as the driver. Take this time to connect with your body. Take this time to get to know it. Even if it's just introducing yourself to your body, putting your hand on your shoulder and saying, hey, shoulder, how are you doing today? Hey, eyes, how are you doing today? Right? It doesn't have to be complicated. It's just that time that you take to acknowledge something that's going on in your body that changes it. We are at the greatest time. We have more support than we've ever had. And the energy, these data points, they're not here to victimize us or hurt us. They're actually here to expand us. Yeah. if we make room within ourselves by connecting and introducing and healing and changing ourselves, we can allow those data points to teach us faster than we've ever learned. Things that you want to let go of, you can let go of like this now. Before, you would take like days to weeks, sometimes even years. Now you can let it go in a second.
Yeah.
This is the easiest time it's ever had to awaken, and it will only get easier as we progress, and that's why so many more people are awakening. Over the next 10 years, the entire planet will move to a fifth dimensional consciousness, including human. Humanity was like one of those that people were like, well, I don't know if it's going to make it. They're going to make it. That was what the purge was. We all proved we are capable of it. Everyone on the planet, they made it. So over these next 10 years, you're going to make it. All you have to do is be good, do good, have faith, and enjoy the ride. One step in front of the other. Continue to expand, continue to be better. That's all you can do. That's all you need to do. And let life design itself for you as the perfect value. And when it pushes up against something, acknowledge it without judgment. Go in, integrate that part of you that needed that experience. Because all it is saying, hey, this part of you is fragmented. Please pay attention to this. Please pay attention to this. Until eventually you pay attention to it, you integrate it, and you become whole. And now you are able to create even greater worlds. That's the journey we're on. That's what's left. And this is what's going to be left for you for the rest of your life. So get used to it now.
I got no complaints.
Me neither. I'm absolutely just having a blast right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Very good. Excellent. We made it.
We did.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're going to see more and more evidence of that. How it only makes sense. You know, we're going to see it in other people. We're going to see it in ourselves. And the way this energy is moving in the quantum, it moves so fast. We could speed everything up.
Yes, we can. I'm still looking to that 100 years. Like it used to be 2000. So that was like a big deal that it went to 100. The pioneers that landed created really cool stuff. And we're like, we'll bring this in. And the universe is like, all right, cool. So 2000 will take about 100 years for you guys to reach the next level. And we're like, yes, this is amazing. So now I have faith that when the next group arrives in August, because just for the record, for anyone that's listening, what I'm saying when I'm saying these benchmarks is big groups. I'm not saying that you can't get over here now. Like we landed with 300. Now we have almost 400 people here. So more people are arriving daily to this plane, right? So it's not just that 300 made it and now you were screwed because you didn't make that. So now you have to wait till August, right? You can go as fast as you want to go. This is a free world where we are in a free universe with free will. You choose how fast you go. The furthest that you can go back is January 9th. If you decide to go past that, you're going to end up in a place where you aren't allowed to be here. So, you know, you've got that time to figure out whether you want to be here or not. But the journey here is as fast as you want it to be. And anyone can come here right now, anytime. And it's beautiful. Like, I welcome anyone. It's wonderful here. So be aware that these times I'm saying is when large groups arrive. So on August 23rd, it's like several millions, like 300 plus million, right? That's a lot. That's why that's a benchmark.
Yeah.
That's also when another leader is coming here. So like the pilot of the plane that landed, that's why that date was chosen. And everybody said, okay, I actually believe in the vision that you have. We're going to get on the plane with you and land here. The party boat is what I like to call it, which is the second group that arrives. Everybody rallied behind that leader and said, you know what? I believe in the vision that you have. I think that you can get us there. And they got there. But then a few people were like, well, I can actually see where I want to go now. So I'm just going to go follow these people. And they left the boat behind and they run as fast as they could on water, which was really fun to watch. And they ended up at the place. Just same thing with the rescue mission. A ton of people from the rescue mission moved over to the boat. It just took one person touching their foot to the ground for humanity to realize, wait a second, this is our future. This is what's possible. I want to help with that. And tons of people ran faster to get to where they wanted to go faster. That's going to happen more every day. I feel like every time that we get about 100 more people on the ascension line, a huge group moves forward faster. And I feel like that's going to keep happening. So that January 9th date where the rest of the world reaches it, by the time that comes, maybe everybody's already here.
Yeah, makes sense. And maybe the getting rid of the or detaching from the 5D programs or whatever you said happens in 50 days.
Yeah.
I mean, anything's possible.
We don't know what we don't know.
We're definitely moving rapidly.
Yes, we are. We're 3 years ahead of schedule. So I'm pretty happy with humanity right now as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, man. That was good. That was really good. Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on.
Always.
Hopefully that helped all the people that were struggling, because I know a lot of people were like, we made it through the purge. Why am I feeling miserable? And that's what I wanted to really come on and say is like, you feel miserable because you were shown something that's impossible and you're still holding on to that belief that you are this now instead of doing the work necessary to get to that. So don't let who you were shown that you are be who you are right now, because you're going to fail every time that you try to take that version of you and put it on top of you and overlay it and go, well, this looks ugly, this looks ugly, that doesn't help you. That ally is in the future for a reason. It's 10 years in the future. Keep working towards it, and it might be 3 years in the future.
That's right.
And who knows, you might even ascend that ally and create a greater one, right? In fact, I'm pretty sure you all will. So don't have anything as a permanent outcome. Just let it go, because that's trying to control reality, and it's never going to work.
Yeah.
But if you let go and you enjoy the ride, man, woo, it is an amazing ride. The world is better than it's ever been. The energy is more palpable than it's ever been. I mean, it's insane. If you've been outside, like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, you actually have the ocean, so you know what I'm talking about.
I was telling the lady on the show before that because we had the full moon on the 18th, so we're like a mile from the beach, and we went down there the night before, the 17th, the 18th. We actually saw it 2 nights ago come up, this big golden globe, all around 7:30. But we hit the Morgan and I and a friend went down last night about 6, and we hit a frequency of, higher frequency or whatever. It was just bliss. It was just, pure, and the moon never came up. So we started leaving about 10:30, and all of a sudden the moon was coming up, which doesn't make sense.
No, but it doesn't have to.
No. But it was a that type of stuff is happening.
You realize, like, that state of awareness you hit, because I saw, like, when you were talking about it, where you went, that state of awareness you hit happened naturally, right? Like, you weren't like, I'm going to meditate for 6 hours.
No.
No, it came naturally.
Yeah.
That's fifth dimension. You elevate up naturally.
Yeah.
There's no struggle. There's no fighting. It's like you work on the stuff as you're elevating that gets heavy within you. That's how you do it. You float up like a balloon, and you start to feel pressure in your body. You tap that place in your body. You let the energy go.
Yeah.
You tone. You do what you need to do to break up the energy that's holding you down. But that's it. Literally, it lifts you up. So all you have to do is just let go of stuff as it comes up to be let go of.
Yeah.
There's no struggle. There's no fighting it. There's no challenge to it. It's just, oh, this doesn't serve me anymore. Let it go. Right? And yeah, that sounds easy to do, but when you're in that moment, like you were talking about before with your platform, you really wanted to go live at a certain time. And the universe is like, no, because that's not what's best for the world. And now you can see clear, and you're like, oh, this is definitely better. I get it. It's the same thing. Like, you just have to let go. Do what you can do your best. And then if it doesn't arrive, then know that there's a reason it didn't arrive.
Yeah, that's right. It's getting very interesting. I look forward to the next time and see what's happening. But Mark, things are moving fast.
They are.
Yeah. Well, you have a good day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming on and sharing with us and sharing space with us and honoring us with your presence again. Thank you for the real-time intel, and thank you everybody for joining us. Got another one in 50 minutes. See you later, Jason.
Have a blessed and beautiful one. Bye.
You too, brother. Take care.